Hoodlums are on the rampage in Enugu State in a bid to enforce the suspended sit-at-home order by the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB. We are told they destroyed property and set ablaze a bus conveying tomatoes, vegetables and other foodstuffs to the state capital, Enugu. And according to an eyewitness, the vehicle was set ablaze by the hoodlums believed to be enforcing the order at Edem Junction, Ibeagwa, Nike, in Enugu East local government area at around 5:45 a.m. Babajide, this issue of continued sit-at-home order in the southeast leaves many a little bit concerned. Now, what do you make of this continued sit-at-home order by the outlawed group in the southeast?
You know, I'm perplexed at this turn of events. IPOB's leadership came out to say we will no longer be enforcing the Monday sit-at-home directive, but on the days when Cardinal will be brought to court, we will enforce sit-at-home. So, in the words of the IPOB leadership, this sit-at-home directive has already been vacated. So there's no reason in the world for people to be subjected to torture, to mental agony, for business premises to be attacked on account of enforcing a sit-at-home order that the authors of the sit-at-home, the people who instituted it in the first place, have said, no, we are no longer doing sit-at-home. The problem with this kind of ideas is that hoodlums, when you come up with ideas such as we can see the IPOB espousing, hoodlums easily get involved and hijack and even completely turn everything upside down. Everything that Kanu stood for, which is to not watch Ndigbo suffer. The boys who are beating people up, who are setting business premises ablaze, who are overturning people's pots of soup on Mondays, what they fail to realize is that they are going against even what Kanu himself stood for. I don't believe that Kanu will simply enjoy watching Ndigbo suffer. But this is what we are seeing here. This is what we are seeing. The other day, Ima Powerful, who is the media officer of IPOB, said that if the DSS do not present Kanu in court on the 21st of October, that it will now enforce one whole month of sit-at-home order, that it will show to the federal government that 60 million Igbo people were behind it. Now, how do you force people to simply sit in their homes for one whole month? What are they going to eat? Especially in an area that we already know them to be business people. You know, they take pride in doing business and being successful at it. That's what we know the Igbos for in this country. So those are the people that you want to keep at home for for one whole month. No one knows yet, and it's premature to even imagine that Kanu will not be brought to court on the 21st. No one knows what will happen, but you can see that this is a dangerous, if this kind of threat is carried out, it's extremely dangerous. And I can understand why Ohaneze Ndigbo has come out to say, no, we oppose this. You can't say people should not go out for 21 days. That even Kano will never
agree to such.
We never allow the kind of suffering that will be visited on people if they were forced to sit inside their houses for for one whole month. Kano will never want to see that kind of suffering visited on these people. So we don't know the people who are carrying out these attacks on people. If IPOB says, no, we are no longer doing Monday, routine Monday sit at home, that it will only be on the days that Kano makes an appearance in court or when his case comes up. Why are Hoodlums still beating people? And that's the reason when governors say, come out, nothing will happen to you, come out. We've seen governors from the East even threatening people with sack if they don't show up at work on Mondays. But people are not listening because nobody wants to die. Don't we have a government in place where you see people being attacked, people being killed for coming out? So this is the thing. Those who value their lives, on Mondays, whether there is a directive in place that it should not be enforced, people simply sit in their homes to be on the safe side, because we don't even know who is going around now enforcing sit at home that IPOB claims it has vacated.
Dotun, it is really worrying, seeing what is happening in the Southeast. Where do you see this leading to?
Well, I think over time, one of the major lessons we are going to learn from this is that whenever we are going to have a protest, whether on the streets or it's a sit at home, we should learn that there must be a start point and there must be an end point. Leaving things open-ended in situations like this can only point us in two directions from what I've seen. Number one is the hijacking of such protests. Number two, for me, is going to be this persistent and continuous belief that is being created in the minds of Nigerians that Ndigbos do not respect their leadership. Because if you have put the weight on Nnamdi Kanu, I'm not saying he's the leader of the Ndigbo, but if you have put the weight on him, as we are made to believe by those who are enforcing this order, then you should get to a point where when the man says the game is over, listen to him. So it begins to now go back to what we have been saying, that see, when people argue here and there and say, why has the Southeast not produced the president? And they put it as it boiling down to the issue of leadership. You can begin to see it in this, that they don't respect their leaders. They don't listen to what they say, meaning that they are just taking advantage of this situation. Because this is not the first time. There was a report from one of the Southeast states where they burned down a trailer. Taking in cows into the region. Not once, not twice. There was one close to the Ed Bridge in Onitsha with electronics and other things meant for a shop around there. Inside a huge truck also, completely burnt. So
Okada, there was one. I think the last one, last Monday,
yes.
Or maybe 2 weeks ago. The truck was loaded with motorbikes.
Motorbikes, yes. That's another one.
Going to Kogi State.
So you are destroying the economy, whether you like it or not. About a week ago, the former governor of Abia State, our chief whip of the Senate, Oji Kalu, said the Southeast must have lost not less than 50 billion in terms of business owing to this madness. because that's what I'll call it. Because you are gradually just killing the region where people survive on daily earnings. If you go to the whole of the southeast, you find out that unlike the north and the southwest, where the government employs heavily, most of them are traders. Most don't even want government jobs. They rather trade and make money, but you shut them in every Monday.
They do better in commerce.
They do better in commerce, and we must give it to them. No doubt about that.
So, but today, what will it take to turn things around? Even though, you know, with the continued detention of Nnamdi Kanu, well, things are getting a little bit out of control. What will it take to turn things around? Would it take a speech from Nnamdi Kanu or an Igbo leader? What exactly do you think can be done in this case?
Maybe a recorded speech will go a long way. A recorded speech, because there are people who have also said, well, until they hear from the same man who pronounced that order in the first place, that they won't be convinced that it's been vacated, you know. So maybe a recorded speech, but here he is in detention, and I don't know whether Nigerian authorities can allow that to happen, or whether even he will be ready to do that.
Exactly. Will he be willing to?
Because he's in detention, he's not happy where he is. So how do you then go to him and tell him to accept that idea comes from him? I know that the Southeast Caucus of the National Assembly is working around the clock looking for a political solution to this matter, which will result in the unconditional release of Nnamdi Kanu and the renunciation of violence by his group. I don't know whether that will be successful, but I think that it's also something that can be given a try.
Yeah.
We've seen people who rose up against their government agree to come to a round table and to make peace. We've seen that happen in different places. We've seen even sworn enemies who swore to spill each other's blood come to the round table to agree to have talks. So I will encourage the Southeast Caucus of the National Assembly to pursue that political solution, because I believe the political solution will calm things down in the East and ensure that we have peace. I said before, when we were recording some gains against the ESN and IPOB, I said this kind of groups, they don't give up easily, because there are some people who believe that, look, whatever you say, pursuing the ideas that IPOB stands for is the best. So how do you convince those people? It's like a dogma. How do you convince them that, look, it makes no sense to continue to pursue the division of Nigeria or a country of your own within Nigeria? So I still believe, as I said earlier, that political solution is desirable, and if we can have that, then it will make give us a rapid improvement in terms of security in this area, because police stations are still being attacked, INEC offices are still being attacked. There are some problems that you can't solve militarily. If you remember, at the time when the militants were breaking pipelines, were sabotaging Nigeria's export terminals in the South, we thought we could use military means. But we were wasting our time. In fact, some of the people who were deployed to the area were sinking in the creeks. It was the same people that they were told to kill that were saving their lives.
Well,
so in the end, we had to look for a way to reach out to those boys. And the moment we reach out to them, the attack stopped.
All right, let's quickly take this call from Kafanchan. Chide, please go ahead with your contribution. Oh dear, apologies, it seems to have lost connection with Chidi there, but if you can reach us again, we will definitely take your call this time around. So Babajide, with what the positions you've mentioned so far, which definitely should be looked into, but knowing how volatile, the region is at the moment, how do you think the government can handle the situation so that we do not have more loss of lives and property?
I still think that the solution can only come from IPOB itself. Because these governors have made appeals, people are not listening. So I believe that the key to solving this problem is IPOB itself, because IPOB came up with this idea of sit at home, and it's IPOB that can put an end to it. I tell you, if the man who is in detention is made to make an address that, look, I don't want this, let this stop, I don't want to see my people suffer this and that, it will solve the problem. But how do you get someone who is in detention to start issuing maybe political statement and all that? It's really tough. You can say, okay, let our communities be policed, but we don't have enough police personnel, we don't have enough police soldiers to police every community. So there are places where they can police, but the places where you don't find them, these boys will go and burn police stations there, they will go and burn INEC offices there, and they will go and attack people going around there or going to their workplaces on Monday. So I still believe that a political solution
must be found.
Yes, is the best.
Let's quickly take this call from Enugu. Please go ahead with your contribution, Emeka.
Thank you, sir. I think we'll continue to pray for the long life of Babajide and this journalist. Babajide, I believe if this government can get close to you or your program, you have always provided a solution to Nigerian problem. You discuss as a nation builder. You see the way it should be. But because at times, some extremists or some persons who are benefiting from certain policies who don't like such your voice to get to the president, why won't get closer to you? You always provide a solution to Nigerian problem. Okay, what is happening in Southeast here is that the way IPOB was proscribed had made certain persons come out and speak out. He has created fear on them for federal might not to descend on them as terrorists or somebody who is supporting terrorist group. I believe if this political solution, as you said, conclude, it can address this problem. You can now see when at times there's an attack, people will say they are not behind such attack. There are other possibly sympathizers who are not ready to listen to anything or just to make sure that whatever man can say is what they are doing.
All right, Emeka, many point taken there. I appreciate your contribution. Apologies for interrupting your flow of thoughts, but thank you very much for what you've said so far on the show. So, Doctor, with this situation on ground, what more do you think the government should do to handle this rather, difficult situation?
Well, I think for me, I believe the handling of the case against Nnamdi Kanu should have been better. It just shows that the system we've adopted over time, where we designate some people as people to be watched, to be kept out of the society, where once they get into the old of any of our security services, especially the Department of State Services, there is always a problem. Because you ask, fine, I completely agree, the man was granted bail, it disappeared. So it needs to be properly watched. especially when he's taken to court, so that nobody plays a fast one on them and then he disappears again. I completely agree with that, because you don't grant a man bail and then he escapes and then you treat him with levity when you get him back in. But what does it cost the DSS to ensure that this man appears in court anytime there is a sitting? It's a big question. You have him in your custody. You know the days he's supposed to be in court. And then on that day, you go to court and you say you can find him. You can bring him to court.
And
You have not brought
It's not as if he's paralyzed.
a
or he
letter
can't
to the
walk.
court to say this man can't come because
Can't
he's
walk.
ill. Even when he's ill, the one that we believed was stage managed, they brought the former National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party to court on a stretcher. We've seen that before in this country. So what is difficult in this?
With neck braces. Well.
Yes, with the
You don't need to go to much detail.
No, I'm just remembering
in
that.
that scenario. So what is difficult in this? A man is in your custody. Bring him to court. It becomes a problem. We don't need to go back to the days of the military when everything was done without any iota of democracy. We're in a democratic setting. This man, you have said you are taking, you can't, arrest him and find him guilty and keep him in your custody yourself. A court must help you to make that pronouncement. And that's what IPOB is asking for. Bring him to court. Even this our
I
own
don't know what's
system.
difficult in bringing someone.
I don't know.
Don't know.
Even our own justice system too. Look at this kind of critical case that is causing a whole region problem. You have adjourned for almost 1 month. For me, I don't think that is necessary. We should treat cases as they come, on their merits. This is causing a whole region problem.
Absolutely.
And that is spreading to other regions too. Because people who do businesses in the southwest can't move into the southeast on certain days. You can't say, I'm not sure I'll get to a city in the southeast on Sunday and set out. If you make the mistake of getting there at 12 a.m. on Monday, then it means you are done for. That's the meaning.
Let's quickly take this call from Owerri. Chukwemeka, please go ahead with your contribution. You're live.
All right. Good evening, TVC News.
Good evening.
And I'm calling from Owerri. Yeah, honestly speaking, I've been listening and watching with rapt attention. I want to believe that Babajide has actually given us what I may consider a way out of this situation. This case should be handled politically. And I don't want to, the federal government should continue to grandstand on
Oh dear,
should be
apologies.
incarcerated, knowing fully well that whether we like it or not, this young man commands the respect of millions of Igbo youths
That's true.
across the length and breadth of this country.
Yeah.
I disagree with the gentleman there who's talking about granting him bail that he jumped bail, but I've also forgotten the circumstances that led to his exiting this country in the first place, that the military invaded his home and almost killed him. The law of nature demands that if somebody goes after your life, you are not a tree. You must have to move to save your life first. So let the federal government realize the need to ensure that there's stability in the southeast. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Chukwemeka, for your contribution there. So,
You know, many Nigerians who clearly were not following the Kano bail issue and were ignorant of developments at the court were saying, "Oh, arrest Abaribe, arrest Abaribe." But the judge who gave that, who
Granted
that bail, revoked it. She listened to Abaribe. Abaribe said, "See, this is what this man said." He said that if he did not escape, he would have been killed. So he revoked the bail bond on Abaribe. So Abaribe was no longer culpable. But a lot of our people don't know. Till tomorrow, they still say they should.
Very, very responsible.
Abaribe has nothing on him on this matter anymore, because the judge listened to his argument. That look, what could I have done? Okay. This person said they invaded his house. They were going. They thought that they were going to kill him if he did not escape, and he had to escape, and the judge listened. And at that point, let's quickly go on a very quick break. We'll be back with more discussions on this very matter. Stay with us. We're still on the sit-at-home order by IPOB. We still have our discussants in the studio with us, Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Oladipo Dotun, to be sharing their thoughts earlier on. So, Babajide, what political decisions do you think can be, done to ensure the situation that is happening in the southeast can be handled, perfectly? I think that the diversity of our country can be better managed, and the government of the day has a lot to do in this regard. I am a lover of our country. I believe in the indivisibility of Nigeria, but I also know that to cement the unity of our country, we've got to make all the federating units feel that they belong, feel that they are wanted, feel that there is something in the country for them. So when we look at political appointment into security positions, we have got to respect the federal character principle. We can't simply use the federal character principle when it favors. It pleases us. No, that was not why it was designed in the first place. Some of the agitations that gave birth to IPOB, gave birth to even agitations to get out of this contraption called Nigeria in the south and in the southeast, and in the southwest, they have to be addressed. We have to be more even-handed in the distribution of political appointments. That's the essence of the federal character principle. That's the essence of it. People feel marginalized. People feel marginalized. Is part of what Nnamdi Kanu was fighting for, although I oppose the idea of now resorting to violence, in making your voice heard. But the reasons why these agitations began, we must address them if we are looking for a lasting solution. Whatever we do that does not address the source of these agitations will only be remedial in nature. It won't permanently solve this problem. Kanu will go today.
Another one will come
Another
tomorrow.
person may
There
come.
are so many of them waiting. So many.
Sunday Igboho, yes, you can say he's illiterate, but there are some Nigerians from the southwest who are literate, who are interested. Yes,
professors.
No, when you say professor, you think it's Akitoye. There are not that old man. There are other people, a lot of them in the diaspora.
Doctors.
Some of them, brilliant people, when you listen to them, they've lost faith in the entity called Nigeria. We've got to make moves that reassure our people. That is the point that I'm making. We've got to make moves that reassure our people. You can imagine Atiku saying the other day that the present government has mismanaged the diversity of our country. Atiku. So these things have to be consciously managed in a manner that will help us to ease the tension in our country, calm things down, and everyone would now feel that yes, indeed, this is our country, and we will do whatever it takes to keep Nigeria one. Unity. Why did we fight a civil war? It's for us to remain one indivisible entity.
Yeah.
Whatever will push us to another war, we must not let it happen.
Absolutely. Well, let's quickly take this call. Sunday, calling from Lagos here. Please go ahead with a contribution.
Hello.
Good evening. Please go ahead. We are live.
Good evening. Please, thank you, Mr. Hangout. Thank you for the passion you are showing for the problem. What is difficult in releasing this man? What offense has he committed? Is it a crime? Which portion of Nigeria?
There seems to have lost connection there again. So, Doctor, let's have your thoughts on what Babajide has posited earlier on.
Yes, I completely agree with him that consciously we need to let people feel this is my Nigeria. And the way you can do it is quite simple. Let every region, let every state be equally represented when you are sharing appointments, including those involved in intelligence agencies, the military and the paramilitary. It's quite important. When you know that my man is a part of this system, there's that thing that is in you. We must not bring my man down. It's always there in us.
The sense of belongingness.
You are just there. Let everybody also know that, see, like they will say, one day, it will become my turn. We say, we go Aso Rock. So they won't want to destroy. But you can imagine that of recent, a top northerner saying they had the votes, the numbers, to keep the presidency in the north. That doesn't sound like a reasonable man speaking. Because if you are sensitive to the tension in the country now, you won't say such. You will not. So we should know that at the level where appointments even become political, like I said, maybe in the military, paramilitary, because once you get to a certain level, it's political. It's no longer how well, or no, I mean, it becomes, so let let it be done well in a way that people have this sense of belonging. It's our country. We must always be able to say that. We must always be able to say that.